Hey guys, figured I'd just do a quick update. It's your buddy Bromigo here, Dennis from Buster's Reef. See the fish are there. I'm kind of wandering around all the reef work beforehand, but that's alright. It's got a bit of a diatom bloom and a little bit of algae here and there that's undesirable. It's looking ugly. Nonetheless, that's not a big deal for me. All the pulps are still out, the corals are doing well. Some are even growing, which is pretty cool. Out and encrusting at the same time. I thought I'd probably elaborate on that. I am going to get my hands on probably a fox-face rabbitfish or a barred rabbitfish this weekend. Here we go. Ooh, what's this? So as I said, I was trying an angelfish in a reef. So I've got my blue face. It's on the other side of the tank at the moment. It will slowly make its way around. But this is a lobo. As you can see, it has not been touched or nibbled. Touch wood that continues, and I also touch wood that doesn't destroy my tank. You can see Desjardins, so that's Montana, Tony, Scarface, severe head and lateral line, so I'm feeding it nori every day, feeding it pellets, see if I can get rid of that. Got my blueface angel, which is why I showed you the lobo beforehand. That's part of my experiment to see if it'll demolish it. I'm hopeful that it doesn't touch it, and it hasn't touched it so far. Mind you though, these are really early days, and I don't want to sort of call it definitive at that point. This guy loves the camera. Head and lateral line does not love it, but I'm hoping I can get rid of that. And these are really nice fish. They're both pretty cool characters. The Desjardins tang tends to follow you around, especially if I got the camera out. It'll sort of come out and sort of make itself aware or make itself present and known to you. The angelfish was hiding for the past couple of days, and what looks like it could be fluke on its eye isn't actually fluke or any sort of cloudy eye. He's probably just cut himself up on the rock underneath there, because that's where it goes to hide, and it sort of wedges itself like that. It's probably just a little bit of damage when the tang jumped in there and startled it. He's a bit of a cranky pants when he gets in there, and as you can see, he sort of found his spot that he likes, and I like him there. He's good. It's actually a funny story about him. I'd say he's probably the cheapest, and I literally mean cheapest, blueface angelfish that I've ever seen. I walked into my mate Andy's shop. He owns Canberra Marine, which is a great place. And I'll give a quick shout out to the guy that built this tank for me, because this is an amazing tank. I really like this tank and I love his work. His name's Dennison. He owns a company called Marianne's Aquariums, I think it is. Memory serves me right, up in Brisbane. And I'm in Canberra, so this came down 1,300 kilometres by freight. Shows how confident I am in his work and how much I value his work. He's a great guy, so if you get a chance, hit him up. He's on Facebook. Really good tank builder, and he's a really nice guy as well. So don't hesitate to give him a call. But yeah, this guy here, I got him for 60 Australian dollars. So in the US, I think it's like 40 something dollars. I don't really deal in US currency, even though it is kind of the currency of the world. The only time I use it is when I go to the US. So $60, pittance really. They're normally around a $200 fish here. Sometimes a little bit cheaper, but generally around that price. He had head and lateral line erosion, or she did, which is why I got it for that price. But it's all gone. And it's gone just by feeding quite well. I started using mastic, pippies, which are like a type of clam, which is cool. And then ocean nutrition. So I was using Formula 1 and 2 in the smaller pellets. And now I've got the medium there, just for this angelfish. And the tang, should it choose to eat it so. And then I also use ocean nutrition, the smaller pellets, sorry, as well for the clownfish and the Desjardins alongside nori on the clip. And Tim from Aqua Blue Distribution also hit me up with a bunch of these flakes. So I'm giving them a shot and seeing if the fish take to it. I haven't seen it yet, but bear in mind these guys have only been added 2 days ago, 3 days ago, so they haven't been in the tank for a long time to establish themselves and be comfortable with people around them outside of their quarantine tank. But yeah, give the flake a go as well. And again, same thing, it's Formula 1 and Formula 2. This is actually full of Formula 1 mixed with Formula 2. You can see it's sort of like the reddish flakes, and then the green, dark blue, sort of blue in this light anyways, flake. So yeah, give that a shot and see how it goes. I also soak my foods in Selcon and some other vitamins. I think it's like Continuum. Yeah, Bio-M or whatever it is. And my mate Gaz from Gem hit me up with some vitamin additives from Quantum, or Ultimate Aquacare. They're now known as Quantum, which I use every so often. They're pretty nifty. I also have Angel Elixir, which I will start using, but again, he has to start, or she has to start knocking out the pellets. She did eat some pellets beforehand and hour around, so she will pick them and grab them throughout the day, and she's still got the same girth as when she was in quarantine. I got her when she was a little bit thin when I got her, so she's fattened up quite a bit, which is good. Same as the Des Jardini. Clowns are always fat, so you can't really say that. But anyways, reef tank's looking good. To go back to this Lobo, yeah, as I said, I'm doing an experiment. Angelfish hopefully won't eat them. There is a lot of information on the web that you shouldn't keep angels in a reef, and I think that's a bit of a gross overgeneralization. As with many benthic feeders, they sort of have their own personality. There may be some traits that are commonplace, but there are always exceptions to that rule. So far, angelfish has not touched any of this coral, and I'll document it. If it does eat it, I'm going to document it, because it doesn't hurt. At least it's giving some sort of information. It's an experiment. It's a game of Russian roulette. So far, the barrel has been emptied when the pistols point at the reef. So, yeah, as you can see, very quick update. I would also go so far as to say, guys, please, I know this sounds cheesy, but quarantine your fish. Do the best you can by them. These guys had been in quarantine for a substantial amount of time. I think about 60 days. That involved getting them acclimated and eating. Yeah, this guy's been in quarantine for months, years, almost a year or so, yeah, and a year there as well. So they've been in quarantine for a long time. I ran a cupramine course for around 40 days. Angelfish and cupramine, they do work. A lot of people say they don't. Angelfish are sensitive to cupramine. My advice would be, if you're going to do it, ramp it up very slowly, and if you can, avoid using it altogether. So whether it's some sort of observation that you perform, hyposalinity, chloroquine phosphate, explore those options and avenues before you pursue using cupramine. I'm in Australia, so we're not really lucky enough to have chloroquine phosphate, but I watched that angelfish like a hawk for months, and it only got bigger. Its appetite got more voracious when it was in copper water, so I was lucky. But I would advise, if you're going to do it, be very diligent in what you do. Test. I was testing copper every second day once I had it up to a therapeutic dosage, but before then I was testing it every day just to make sure it wasn't going up too fast. And I was like quartering the dosage amount and dosing every day just to slowly ramp it up. You see, he's a bit of a jerk and he does pick on the tang, but I think the tang's going to really establish that status quo very quickly once the angelfish peeves it off enough. But the angelfish are belligerent, so be very wary of that. Yeah, nonetheless, this is it. I'm going to be doing a test after we speak now. I might upload those results alongside it. I'm still sitting at around 370. You can see the little algae there. It's really driving me nuts. I'm going to get a rabbit fish to get rid of that shit. It's driving me wild. Yeah, I would go so far as to say that, yeah, my calcium's low, alkalinity's still high, and I've just been dosing my calcium as much as I can. I run Randy's recipe. It's nothing special. Yeah, just going from there. As you can see, is just Dennis talking much like he breaks wind, so out of his butt, but nonetheless, yeah, welcome And thank you for tuning in. Feel free to subscribe, leave a message in there, ask any questions. Just understand I'm by no means professing to be an expert. Anything I give you will probably be information you can get from the forums. And I'm not trying to use this as a way to say, oh, I know your expertise and such. A lot of it is an experiment. This is a journey that I'm going on, and you can join in on it if you want. I don't really care. It's much to you. I'd prefer you to enjoy your own tank as well, get the chance. Yeah, stay tuned in for that angelfish side of things, because I will report on that very frequently. And I'll probably add another angelfish. As I said, I'm looking at a Chitodontopus meredithii, so a false personifer. Maybe a scribbled. I've tried scribbles before. I didn't have much luck with it, but there's too many fish in my quarantine system at that point, and whenever I add a fish in, I'll normally bring the copper down, start afresh, and just run through a cycle of copper. And I think this time, if I do get one, I'm just going to devote all of my quarantine system to it to give it the best chance in success. I'll probably get one that's slightly larger so it can fend for itself in this tank with these guys as well. So I'll be keeping an eye out and then going from there. So it'll either be a false personifer or a scribbled angel. Still amongst these guys. Something a little less common than your quintessential emperor, which I think is the best looking angelfish, bar the queen. I can't keep a queen. If I had a queen in here, everything else would die. It's just a matter of when, not if. So you're going to mess everything up. I'm not talking about corals, I'm talking about all these fish. And this guy's a beautiful fish. I like it. I want to see it transform into an adult coloration. I want to see Montana just become a regular ass sailfin tang. So it's wishful thinking in many ways, but in many other ways, the status quo is pretty good at the moment. I'll add a rabbit fish in here, and I may add a couple of Anthias probably months down the track once this is sort of stabilized. And then, yeah, we'll go from there. But you can see, enjoy the brown guys. It's not going to, ideally not going to be there much longer. I'll get something to rip that all out in about 2 or 3 weeks' time. But thank you for tuning in and watching. I think my first video got like 80 views, so thanks for that. If you have any comments to chuck in there, feel free to do it. If it's criticisms, any advice you can give, chuck it in there. Do note that I do water changes in this system. It's not a changeless system. I don't believe in a system where you're devoid of water change. I think water change is a good habit to have. It doesn't matter whether you're running Triton or not. I mean, I guess with the Triton, it's designed so you don't do it. And I'm not rubbishing Triton in any way, shape, or form. I just think a water change is a good practice, and why get rid of it now? So I can show you guys my water changing schedule and what I do. It really is just schlepping buckets, as Mike Paletta once said. But I'm lucky. I don't have a lid for this yet. It's Euro-braced, so I don't really spill much. So yeah, but that's it. Feel free to give us a call, ask any questions. Don't call me. You don't have my number on here anyways, but ask any questions in the comments section. Feel free to say my tank looks like shit in the comment section. It does not bother me in any way, shape or form, because it's not the goal for it as far as the end goal. Any suggestions to what I can do, same thing, feel free to share. I really wanted to make this predominantly an Acropora tank. I might add some Monties in here, but I'm very apprehensive with Monties because they grow quite quickly and they do overrun things. And I'm having quite a bit of luck. If there's any advice I can give people, get some maricultured corals or aquacultured corals. They're definitely more resilient and more forgiving. And just make sure you give them enough flow to wash any of the detritus away from them and stop it from pulling up on them. And that will definitely set you on the right path for some form of success. So come back out and we do a full tank shot. I'm leaning back here, guys, if you can't hear it. And as you can see, yeah. Also, if you go to pathologists or go to the doctor every so often, ask them if they can give you some of those. They're nifty. I use them for my Papono mixture when I feed my corals. I'm not feeding them tonight though. And it does a pretty good job. But yeah, pardon the mess in the kitchen. But yeah, this is the tank. I said I'll go into more detail with another video on what's inside the tank and what's underneath the tank as far as filtration is concerned. Just to give you guys a bit more of an insight. I'm manually dosing at the moment. I do have a dosing unit. So I actually have an aquamatic dose. But I haven't set it up. I'm really lazy. I'll probably do it this weekend. But I'm just trying to get my calcium up before I chuck it in there and start overdosing the system because I'm lazy. So anyways guys, this is the tank. Enjoy. If you have any questions, as I said, feel free to chuck them in the comment section. Feel free to make that an open discussion. Feel free to provide critique. I have pretty thick skin. As long as it's not horrible stuff like racist stuff or sexist stuff or anything like that, feel free to share it. Yeah, feel free to say, yeah, look, I don't think you can have your rock here. I don't think you should put the coral there. I don't think you should have coral in the system as of yet. I think I touched on it in the earlier video as to why I thought I was arrogant enough to do so, and it's actually working well enough for me at the moment. You do have growth on some of these corals. Get some burnt tips actually because of the growth. So it's oversaturated with white, but you can sort of see it there. You can see the encrusting at the bottom of it. This guy's actually colouring up, which is nifty. That's got like just peach fuzz all over it. Yeah, so corals aren't actually really upset in any way, shape or form. As I said, this is the one I'm watching the most and has had a little bit more growth on the edge there, so I'm just keeping an eye on that as well. But yeah, just trying to keep my parameters as stable as possible and having a good time whilst I'm at it. Also feel free to criticize the crap out of my camera work because it is horrible. I do actually have a 4K camera, but I'm not using it because there's a 5-minute limit on 4K film, which is great, not. But nonetheless, I will start using that and start using the microphone voiceover once uni frees up a little bit. Yeah, enjoy guys, have fun, happy reefing, and talk it over.